Hey, everybody. Welcome. Homeschooling, Volume 8. Got some Jerry Garcia-inspired riffage going on there. I love Jerry. Man, you know, I'm not one of those guys that knows every single Dead song, but I do really like the Dead. I sort of discovered them a bit later in life, you know. The thing I like about the Dead the most is that it's really impossible to be in a bad mood when you put on a Dead record, when you're cleaning the house, you know. It's got magical powers. But, you know, I always thought it was kind of funny how, like, if you think about it, as different as they are, Jerry and Dickie Betts kind of play alike. You ever think about that? You know, very different styles, but a lot of the same, like, note choices. Dickie Betts and Jerry Garcia, think about it. Pretty crazy. But I love them both, man. So, yeah, man, hope everybody's doing good out there. You know, hope you're not losing your mind. I got some reader comments. We love those, you know. Let's see. First of all, I wanted to mention, did you notice my fancy new logo? Did you notice that? The Homeskoolin logo. That was done by my friend Eric Crilly. Eric, he owns this amazing breakfast joint in Nashville called Farmland, behind Maryland Farms. If you live in Nashville and you want to get an amazing breakfast, go see those guys. You know, me and a couple of my buddies think of it as our secret breakfast place, so I probably shouldn't mention it to too many people, but yeah, thank you, Eric, for doing the logo. You know, I'm upping my production value here, you guys. Okay, so let's see what we got here. You know, a guy wrote in yesterday about my video where I talked about the joke, the old Southern joke. Legendary Matt Rawlings, unbelievable piano player. I can't believe he's even watching my show. Thanks, Matt. How you doing? He said, that joke is a life philosophy, serious truth. And I was like, yes, it is, Matt. You know, but yeah, Matt's one of those guys, like I mentioned a while ago when I was talking about unbelievable piano players. Matt's one of those guys. I mean, I've learned so much just from hanging around. We've done a bunch of sessions together, and he's always teaching me stuff. I mean, he puts up with me because he likes my energetic playing, but I know that he in the back of his mind, he knows that I don't really know shit about music. But he still loves me, and I love him. Shout out to Matt Rawlings there. Now, a couple other ones. Let's see. A guy wrote in from Australia. He said, I've been watching you like a hawk. Other than everything else that's been mentioned about what makes you a great, unique player, I feel like some of the secret is in your fourth finger. it seems really strong and dexterous compared to most guitar players. How'd you get that little fella working like a boss? That thing, well, thanks, man, for saying that. I've worked hard. I feel like you got to use everything. That's why I use my thumb, all my fingers here, you know. Whatever you can do, man, might as well use it. Back in my late 30s, I had a terrible accident where I smashed my finger in a road case. Jesus, couldn't play for 6 months. I thought it was all over. Frightening. From the first knuckle down, it got powdered, the bone. I went to the emergency room that night, and the guy said, man, there's just nothing to stitch to. But he finally got it to look like a finger, and it came back, man, amazingly. I don't know how, but 6 months later, in the meantime, I had to relearn how to play guitar with just these 3 fingers. Couldn't use the middle one at all, and man, what a road that was. I was actually doing sessions like that, playing with just 3 fingers, and I still use a lot of the same techniques I learned in that time through necessity to this day. You know, I could do that with just these 3 fingers, which is kind of weird, you know. But whatever you got to do, you do it, right? Let's see. Here's another one. Hey, Tom. Really enjoying the channel. I can't tell you how refreshing it is to watch these episodes without someone trying to sell me something. It's a place to come for people who just love music. Maybe a little more than everyone else. Man, thank you. That's super sweet. Warms the heart. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, you know, we got some hopefully inspiring some music fans out there. I noticed reading the reader comments on some of the videos that there's pretty thoughtful, intelligent folks out there, you know, for the most part. And I appreciate that, man. You know, there's not a lot of, you know, people acting silly, talking about comparing Kemper profiles and stuff like that. I appreciate that, man. That's super cool. Well, you know, maybe it's all the highbrow English prog rock that ran off all the riffraff. Who knows? But yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate all you guys watching, man. Seriously, very cool. All right, so let's see what else we got. Here's one. Speaking of, here's another question I got from an old friend, actually, a guy that I've known for years. He said, Tom, I remember one time we were drinking beers in a bar, and you said, and I quote, one day we will look back on this era of guitar players playing all these modeling amps the same way we look back at old photos of ourselves wearing stonewashed jeans back in the 80s. And then you went on to say, if a state law was passed where guitar players were only allowed to use Kempers and Fractals and no real tube amps, then you would just quit guitar. You remember saying that? I would never say something like that. I mean, you must have me confused with somebody else. I would never say something like that. Okay, now, here's another one. This is a cool one. Am I missing anything here? Okay, no. Hey, Tom. Every time you talk about bad habits of amateur players, it's like there's a bullseye pointed right at my own playing. It's got me thinking, are those things that you hate, like unexamined vibrato, rushing in solos, etc., from the things you've had to battle in your own playing? Well, fucking of course, yes. God, I mean, oh man, if you knew what was going on in this head, I rarely ever like anything I play. I'm not just saying that. I am so fucking hard on myself. I'm also hard on other musicians. I'm a bit of a polarizing guy in the studio. I mean, I've sort of ran off a lot of potential clients because I'm kind of a loudmouth, and I have a lot of opinions about, guys, let's just do it one more time. We can make it better, you know? And I'm always sort of trying to get shit, you know, to be better and better. I'm mainly looking at myself. I'm not, you know, pointing fingers, but I think people put up with me because they know I'm as hard on myself as I am on everyone else. You know what I mean? And look, man, I'm no Paul McCartney, no John Lennon. I'm just doing the best I can, trying to make some cool music and trying to inspire other people to make some cool music, you know? I mean, but yeah, it's all comes from looking within, you know? What's that old thing that people talk about where when they identify traits that they see in other people that they don't like, it's basically because it reminds them of themselves. I mean, I'm probably butchering that old saying. I don't really remember it, but that's the gist of it. And yeah, man, I mean, there's so much to learn, you guys. I mean, there's so much to learn. I mean, look at a guy like Ted Green. Like, could a guy like Ted Green even exist in this modern world? A person who has read every single book dedicated to music harmony that ever was written. I mean, the guy studied the most ancient, obscure, forgotten forms of music just to fill his head with the knowledge of how harmony works in all different idioms. I mean, could a guy like that even exist in this world of distractions that we're living in today? I mean, he must have just, that's all he did, was sit in that little apartment of his and read those books and work on things. I mean, the guy was just a mutant, just a freak. I mean, how could anybody learn that much? You know, it's humbling to sit and watch videos of him talking about chord movements and harmony and the way that music works, and it's just like, wow, I realize that when I watch that, I am a total beginner. And man, we all have a lot to learn, man. So there you go. I think that's it for today. Kind of a short lesson, but that's all right. Not even a lesson, really, just a talk. But again, thanks for all the sweet words that everybody says, and I'm glad you liked the show. Thanks again, Eric, for the cool logo. Okay, guys, see you later.